Okay, well, I would say my early childhood career started when I was very young, and I did not even know it actually. My godmother had a childcare, and my best friend, she was also my best friend's mom, so I was always there, and we hated kids. We were about like maybe 8, 9, 10. I wouldn't say hate. I didn't hate kids, but I wanted to play myself, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so we always had to babysit, but she taught us life lessons, and she also paid us too. And so, but when we were little, me and my best friend were like, oh, we're not gonna do anything with childcare when we get older. That's what I thought. So just fast forward, I went to school to be a radiology tech. And that just didn't work out because myself and science just didn't get along at all. But at that time, I thought that's what I wanted, and I kept pursuing it, and it just didn't work out. And I got a job at a really great hospital as a lab tech, and I ended up losing my job. And I was 9 months pregnant, and I was like, what am I going to do? I can't go to work. I mean, who's going to hire me? And then I had my baby, and so I was like, you know what? Let me try to stay home for a minute. And I was breastfeeding mom, so I was like, okay, I can stay home. But I loved kids, so I had a lot of kids in my neighborhood, and my girls were about maybe 10 and 8. And so I had their friends over all the time. And so when my husband would come home, he'd be like, you know what? You always have kids. You need to start daycare or something. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Because I like the idea of being home with my children because I worked long hours all the time. I went to school, so I was always at work or always at school. So I wanted to try something different. And so I was like, okay. So I went on the Texas Department of Family Protective Services, and I was like, okay, how do you start a child care? And so that's what I did. I went on there. I get everything in order to start my child care. And also I changed my major. I was like, you know what, while I'm at home, maybe I can try to go to school online. And TCC, Tarrant County College, has a phenomenal program for early childhood education and teaching. So I was taking a lot of class electives for early childhood and teaching. And so I was like, well, which one do I like best? And so one day on their website, SFA popped up, and they had a child care completer program. I was like, what is it? So I looked into it, and that was all she wrote. It said you can complete your degree in child development and family studies. But the thing with them, to get that degree, you have to do a minor, which was like one of the best things ever. So my minor is in early childhood intervention. And so I knocked it out. I was a straight A student, and go figure. So when I was going to get my degree in radiology, I thought I was I was a struggling student. But when I went to the child development, the route I was supposed to take, I was a straight A. I got really great grades, and I was surprised myself.
Yeah.
And so then it came to get your practicum. So I knew that I didn't just want to do just childcare. I knew it was something bigger than that. Childcare is great. It's don't get me wrong, I love childcare, but I knew I wanted something more. And so I found an organization called Campfire USA, and I did my practicum there because at the time they were the only organization that had a childcare on site, professional development organization. They did after school programs. They did the whole 9 yards, the training, conferences, all of it. So I was like, oh, I want to do it bigger. So I contacted them, and they said yes. So I did my practicum there, and I learned so much from the ladies in that organization. I mean, I was just overload. So I was like, okay, I got everything I need. And then I went back to my home and did my family home childcare. So then I got bored. I get bored easily. And I was like, you know what, it has to be more than this. And then I was like, it is. And also, I was still in school, too. And so, you have to have your professional development hours. So it was really hard for me to keep up with that. But at the time, when I was in school, I had tons of hours, but I still wanted to be connected with my local community. I knew there were other child care providers out there because it can get lonely in your house, right? But I met on Tuesdays, and that was school day for me. And also when I finished school, that was basketball day. I'm a basketball mom, right? So I'm like, it has to be something different. So I was like, well, let's do Saturdays. And so I approached the lady. I asked her, have you ever thought about doing Saturdays? She was like, you know what? We're not doing it anymore. Our chapter is closing. I was like, really? And she said, yes. I was like, well, I'm going to do it. And then I just went on the website and I sent out an email to all my colleagues in this area, and I said, hey, we're going to host a meeting at the library where we're going to do training, professional development, and networking, and come on out, right? And so 6 ladies came out, and that's how Arlington DFW started. And so that was kind of the beginning of, I would like to say, my other part of my early childhood career is the leadership and mentoring. So basically, that's it.
So what do you call your organization?
Arlington DFW Childcare Providers.
Okay. What does that look like today? And then where do you see yourself going in the future?
I may phase out of family childcare one day soon. I don't know when, because my training and speaking engagements is really, really taking off. And I'm really getting into public policy, which I absolutely love. I do love children, so I'm kind of teeter-tottering with that. But in 2014, we started off with 6 ladies, and now that it's 2018, about to be 2019, we have 78 members and counting.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that looks like right now.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going really, really great. It really is.
So tell me about your speaking engagements. What kind of folks are you speaking to?
The speaking engagements that I'm still excited about was the last one I did at NAYC, the national conference in Washington, D.C. I had the privilege to speak at Leadership Day, and the topic on Leadership Day was diversity and inclusion, because this past summer I had the opportunity to attend the HPIO summit, which basically was on leadership and diversity. And so I got to speak to the audience about my reflections on that. And that was absolutely amazing. And just to be able to speak with fellow colleagues from across the United States who are leading organizations, that was just an awesome privilege to tell them. I guess I got to speak on what my why was, and what my why is the economic development of child care professionals, and how do you lead from your why. And so I lead from my why every single day. I love leadership, and I love to pour into others, because, like I said, this field is just not childcare. We just do not, we do way more than educate young children. We lay the foundation for young children, but to adequately do that, we have to pour into ourselves and become the leaders that we are here to be. So that's like one of my really, really soft spots is leading. And so I love to pour into the other ladies who especially are in my organization. I mean, I have leaders for days. Some may not recognize it, but what I love to do is go feed myself in my leadership, so then I can go back and feed them and say, hey, this is what we can do it, and we're going to get it done. So that's what I got to speak about on Leadership Day. I'm just on cloud 9 about this one. I got to speak at the advocacy rally with Marion Wright Elderman. OMG. I was just like, you want me to do what? Speak against who? And I'm getting tongue-tied just still thinking about it. But that really, really, I guess, set the bar to 1,000 for me. Like, if I can get up here and speak after this lady who was an advocate, she spoke in the civil rights movement. She's still advocating for children right now to this day. And I'm like, wow, that was game changing for me. It really was in my leadership role.
So you are really, your voice is being heard. And it all began with the one organization you were being a part of deciding to discontinue and you saying, okay, well, I'll just start my own. And that's kind of how it's gone. Yeah. That's really cool. Well, so like looking towards 2019, do you have a word? Have you selected a word of the year, or an intention word for yourself?
Yes, that is unapologetic.
Unapologetic.
Oftentimes, yes. Often, and that's really, really coming from the heart, because oftentimes, especially being a woman or being a minority, sometimes you feel, sometimes you feel like you may not be included, or what you say doesn't have value, and it really, really does. Or what you're here for, no one's going to listen. But I just want to tell everybody out there, you have a calling on your life, and you have a I call it an assignment. That's what I like to call my walk. I have an assignment, and my assignment is just as important as everybody else's, right? And so I need to be unapologetic about it. Sometimes you like to hide behind your talents, and I'm not saying be cocky about it or be, what's another word, or like just all stuck up. No, walk in your destiny, walk in what your gift is, right? And don't care what nobody says about it, because I'm telling you, if I cared about what people say about me, I'll be just flat out dead. Because the more successful you are, the more they're going to come for you. Trust me. But what I want to say, just be unapologetic about who you are and what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, it's about those young children that we are here to care for. The young children and their families, and also your family. So don't be afraid of your gifts. Don't be afraid of saying what you have to say. Don't be afraid to have a seat at the table. And if you do not have a seat at the table, create your own seat at the table and be unapologetic about it.
Right. It's a great word.